Today we're checking out this. This is the Studio Series SL150 from Editor Keys. That's right, the people who make keyboard covers and keyboards for popular DAWs, video editings, have made a microphone. In fact, they've made two, and this is the first one, which is the SL150. And I actually stumbled across it because I was looking for a keyboard cover for my Mac, for my video editor for DaVinci Resolve and for LumaFusion. And I saw that they did recording gear. So I had a look at this and then saw that actually it's really cheap. And I just wanted to know, what does it sound like? Now, it's a large diaphragm condenser microphone, but the big kicker is it's USB. That's not uncommon now for 2025, but for a penny under £65, what am I getting here? Alright, so let's just go back a step. Let's have a look at what is in the box. And you get a box with it, as in a carry case. So it has an outer sleeve here, the Studio Series SL150 USB condenser microphone, as you can see here, for both PC and Mac. And then you've got on the back all the information that I'll get into later, including all the specs and everything. So let's get rid of this sleeve. And you've got to remember, for the price, you're getting this carry case with it as well. So if you need to take it on location somewhere, it's already got its own carry case. Really happy with that. All right, let's get this open and have a look. The right way around? Yes. Okay. So we have a little bit of information here about the microphone itself and the frequency range and everything else. We've got a cage here, so that obviously works directly with the microphone. We have a very long USB-B to USB-A connection, and then we have the microphone itself. Large diaphragm, still in its packaging, and let's just take this out. Always throw away, do not eat it, no matter how tempting it looks.
Oh, that's just disgusting.
Quickly, thank you. Saves me from myself.
And it has a single USB port there right on the bottom, nothing else, and it's got a large gold diaphragm inside. I don't know if the camera is going to pick up that gold. Maybe it might do just there. So hopefully you can see that. Now, instantly looking around this, we've got a large diaphragm. Of course, we're going to be going that way, not this way. And it doesn't have any switches. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, this is the Aston Spirit. Now, this is a more expensive microphone, but you can see here we've got like a 10 dB switch on one side, and we've also got a low noise cut on the other. So just to have a 10 dB pad or to get rid of low noise rumble. Now, with it being USB, we can obviously do that in the software, but it's nice to obviously cut that out from the microphone directly. And the cradle is very simple. It is one of those sort of grippy cradles, so you just hold it in. So let's do that now. I've just noticed underneath, the connection underneath is a wide connection there, and there doesn't seem to be an adapter in this box to go from sort of like the wider one to the smaller one. Just be aware of that, but it should fit pretty much any microphone stand. So if we were to clasp this together, and then that will open it up, we can pop this here, and there we go. That's pretty sturdy, actually. Yeah, that's pretty solid. There we go. That's sitting in its own cage, and then we just attach that onto a mic stand. So as I said before, I'm going to plug this into my Mac. My Mac is the Mac Mini M4, just the base model, and I need an adapter because it's all USB Type-C. I won't be using any audio interface because, of course, this is USB itself. So the cable they supply is USB-B that goes into the microphone and USB-A at the other end. So if you need an adapter, these are fantastic. These are made by Benfi. You can find them on Amazon. I've got a link in the description box if you want to go and grab one. And then all I do is just pop that onto there, and it's compatible. Now for this test, I'm going to be using the equipment that they've given me, including the cable as well, so you can hear what's coming through that specific cable. I'm going to be plugging it into the Mac Mini. I'm going to be running it through Logic. I'm not going to put anything on it whatsoever. We're just going to go completely flat. Just bear in mind that YouTube compresses audio no matter what. But let's get a couple of ideas of what this sounds like. Now, before we get going with this, Editor Keys don't know I'm making this video. I bought this as a customer, and therefore they don't get to say anything. It's not a sponsored video, it's just my thoughts. And I just got far too curious about this microphone to then obviously go out and get one to go and find out what it sounds like. So, as always, the thoughts are my own. Hi, this is JP from Jump On Music UK. We're testing out the Studio Series SL150, and on the screen right now, it's really, really quiet. It looks really quiet. It looks like it's hitting minus 15 dB. And you can change, obviously, with a USB setting, we can obviously make it louder or not louder by changing the input of the dB. So I've got this set at 9. We're just going to have a listen to it and just see what it sounds like. Now, I don't need to put 48 volts phantom power through. There's no way to do that. It's USB. The diaphragm is kind of right there. So I'm going to move it down just slightly. So it's, you can see how far away I am from it. And as I talk around it, you're going to see me talking around it now. And then that way you can hear what it's picking up and what it's not picking up. Pat, pat, pat. Let's do plosives. Pa, pa, 1, 2, 3. Pa, pa, pa. Pa, pa, pa. Pa, pa, pa. It really does pick them up. So I would suggest having some kind of pop filter in front of you just to make sure the plosives don't get picked up. I'm saying plosives without the p very, very quietly and trying to do that. Let's do the proximity thing. So we'll go really quiet like this, but we'll go really close to it and see what it sounds like. And this is JP talking the jazz voice. Yes, jazz, yeah. Of course, this is just talking, so the other one will be singing. So we go, yeah, 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 yeah. We're at the whiskey jar where people come and friendships go. Here at the whiskey jar where Friday's fast and Sunday's slow. Here at the whiskey jar, I know that I can just be myself. Let's have another drink, yeah. Now, I'm going to do something you wouldn't normally do, which is I'm going to pick it up. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm just going to start turning it round. As I start turning it round, you'll realise where the diaphragm is. And you should know that as well because you've got this lovely blue. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this to you. Can you see the blue there? And you can't see it on that side, but you can on that side. And it's an indication to show you where your mouth should be, basically, which side. Because of the polar pattern, you might have it the wrong way around. But long story cut short, wherever the symbol is, there's a symbol just there. That's where you speak into. Now, you can speak directly into it. Of course, the little trick, if you want to, if you're doing talking, is actually to speak at a sort of almost like a 45-degree angle. So I'm sort of having this to one side slightly. That way, if I say Peter Piper, then you're not going to pick up as many peppers because the plosives are not picking up really well, and I'm really pounding the plosives right now. So yeah, so that way if I went Peter Piper, picked up the peppers, yeah, it's just going to go nuts. Now the cool thing is with this, you could plug this into a Mac, you could plug this into a tablet, you could plug this into maybe an iPad that's running GarageBand. So if you want to record on the go, you could take this with you, you could take the case with you, which is really, really cool. So I just wanted to show you I've actually plugged it into my phone, again with the same adapter, and what you're hearing right now is this coming through here. So you can see it bouncing up and down. The downside, again, because we haven't got an audio interface, is I can't hear it. I can't check what it sounds like. So if I wanted to plug this in and then at the same time listen to a guitar and sing along, that's quite difficult. But if you're recording just a vocal or an audio or just something that you're speaking or you're singing, this works. It actually works really, really well. You could use this in different scenarios. So, of course, if you're doing singing or talking, I'd say that's probably the primary use for this. But you could use it for obviously recording a guitar. So right now, I'm going to do this where I'm, again, 45 degrees. I wouldn't go head on with a guitar. I'd kind of go 45 degrees. Let's bring it down a little bit. So it's picking up the whole, but it's obviously not directly at it. So now, this isn't a sponsored video by any means. We got this with our own money, therefore it is completely unsponsored. Let me know what you think about what it sounds like. Right now, I can't hear it, so I'm going to listen to it back, and then I'm going to give you my feedback. Now, a couple of things. First of all, the problem that you've got is if the device you're plugging into doesn't have headphones, or for an iPhone or an iPad, doesn't have a headphone jack as well. So if you're plugging into USB, then USB-A or USB-C with an adapter, I can't hear what that sounds like. Now, I'm on the Mac Mini and that has its own headphone port. I could plug my headphones in to monitor it. That's absolutely fine. But for a pinch to get a large diaphragm microphone that's obviously bigger than things like an SM58, you want it to sound sort of half decent, this is great. It works really, really well, and with it being USB, it just connects. It's really easy. The other thing you'll notice from the microphone itself is the silence. So if I just shut up for a minute, it's pretty low, and it's quite good in that respect. There's no digital noise in the sense of like low noise or anything like that, so it works quite well. Now in terms of frequency, as I said before, the high end of the frequency is 20 kilohertz. It's not 25 or 30, but that's one of the sacrifices you're making for going with this microphone, because it's only £65. Now, instead of me spending 3 or 4 minutes talking about the specs, I'm going to just bring them up so you can have a look and see what it's doing. And you got to remember that this has a range of 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So not as big a range as some other dynamic microphones, but again, you've got to factor the price into this. It retails at £129, but actually on their website right now, it's $64.99. So for under £65, you're getting a large diaphragm condenser microphone that is USB. Now I would say this is probably the entry level version, because they do an SL600, and that does have a low cut and a 10 dB pad, but that can also do monitoring as well. So if you don't have an audio interface and you need something to monitor with, that might be an option. Now the diaphragm inside both this one and the 600 are 34mm, so I'm not sure, but it might actually be the same diaphragm. And if you're using microphones and getting into recording and digital audio workstations and you're releasing music, have a look at this video, because I recently switched from DistroKid over to LANDR. When you work out what DistroKid are giving you with all the extra fees versus what LANDR give you, you'll soon realize it's a no-brainer. Watch that video.